One boy grows up behind locked doors. One man sells the land that once symbolized forever. In the shadow of Coyote Pass, love is no longer faith, it's control disguised as care. Tonight, we uncover the two faces of Kody Brown's legacy, the son he's protecting into silence, and the land he's selling into oblivion. And when these two stories finally collide, the family's future shatters in ways no one saw coming. But tonight, the silence finally speaks. Part 1. Solomon Brown was born in 2011, the same year Robyn became the legal wife of Kody Brown, a turning point that fractured the sister wives' household. While the cameras followed the drama between Kody and his other wives, one small boy grew up in the margins, the golden child of a controversial marriage. He was doted on, shielded from conflict, and in that shield, fans believe, he was also cut off from real emotional growth. Was Kody protecting his son, or shaping another version of himself? Robyn Brown has long been portrayed as the caretaker, the peacemaker. But behind the polished calm, viewers noticed strict patterns, limited socialization, emotional gatekeeping, and constant supervision. Robyn babies him too much. He's 12 but acts 6. Let him breathe. In every frame, Saul appears gentle, almost fragile, and always close to Robyn. Many viewers sympathize, but question, is Saul growing or simply existing inside Robyn's comfort zone? Child psychologists call it overparenting isolation, where protection becomes suffocation. While Robyn kept Saul close, Kody drifted from his older children. Janelle's and Christine's kids publicly voiced their pain, feeling abandoned, forgotten. But Saul? He never appeared angry because he was never given the space to feel anger. And that silence became the loudest cry for help. In family therapy terms, Saul represents the emotional compensation, a child who carries the weight of his father's guilt by being perfect, quiet, compliant. As Saul entered his teen years, fans began noticing something unsettling. His demeanor remained childlike, overly dependent, awkward in conversations, almost untouched by time. Was it shyness? Or emotional regression caused by years of isolation? Children in hyper-controlled environments often lack social modeling. They don't build autonomy, they mirror the emotional climate of the parent who protects them. And that's when the internet began calling Saul the Forgotten Brown. In 2024, a Reddit thread titled, "What's Happening to Saul?" went viral. Within hours, hundreds of fans voiced concern for his emotional well-being. He needs real friends, not just Robyn. Kody's legacy is isolation. I fear for his future. And yet neither Kody nor Robyn addressed the concern. Instead, they appeared in interviews doubling down on their parenting choices. Was this love or control disguised as devotion? The climax of this story isn't a fight or a scandal. It's a quiet realization. Saul's emotional world reflects the cost of Kody's empire, a boy raised inside a fortress of love that became a cage. Saul Brown is now stepping into adolescence. There's still time for growth, independence, and healing, but only if he's allowed to live outside Robyn's rules. Viewers aren't blaming Saul. They're rooting for him because in every quiet child, there's a voice waiting to be heard. If you've ever been the quiet one, the one who watched chaos from the sidelines, this story might sound familiar. Comment below. Do you think Kody and Robyn are helping or hurting Saul's growth? Has protection gone too far? Let's discuss. Part 2. It's 2025, and the sister wives family has scattered like desert wind. Christine is remarried. Janelle has traded Arizona dust for North Carolina farmland. And Meri, once the first wife, now the free one, is finally dating again. For the first time in over 3 decades, the women aren't waiting for Kody's approval, they're building their own lives. But just as they begin to heal, one phone call brings everything back. Kody's voice soft, rehearsed with words that sound like peace, but hide a secret. Behind the scenes, Kody Brown begins quietly preparing documents, the kind of paperwork that doesn't need family signatures, only his name. The land Coyote Pass was meant to unite the family, a home for all. Now, it's just Kody and Robyn's dream, and even that dream is fading. Sources close to the production reveal Kody's plan to sell part of the property, to cover debts, and rebuild financial stability. But what shocked fans wasn't the sale, it was who he didn't tell. Meri, the woman who once stood beside him when Coyote Pass was first bought, would find out only after the papers were signed. Kody hits the road. His mission? Redemption or damage control? First stop, Meri. She's glowing stronger, softer, and finally living for herself. When Kody tells her he's selling Coyote Pass, her face hardens. In one chilling line, Meri whispers, "You're selling the land, but you already sold your soul." Next, North Carolina. Janelle, surrounded by open sky and horses, listens quietly. She doesn't cry. She simply says, "That land was never about family, it was about control." For the first time, Kody seems smaller. The patriarch turned pilgrim walking through the ruins of his own making. But here's the twist no one saw coming. The idea to sell Coyote Pass wasn't Kody's alone. According to insiders, Robyn pushed for the sale, citing financial strain, privacy concerns, and what she called a toxic legacy. She reportedly told Kody, "Let's bury the past, literally." To fans, that wasn't closure, it was betrayal in designer disguise. The woman once seen as the peacemaker had become the architect of erasure. Robyn wanted control all along. Kody's lost everything, even his last memory of family. But the biggest reaction came from someone unexpected, Meri herself. In one of the most powerful moments of the season, Meri returns to Coyote Pass alone. She stands by the gate, wind blowing through the red dust, the land she once called sacred now slipping away. "I used to imagine our kids running here. Now it's just silence." That silence becomes the climax, the symbolic end of Sister Wives' original dream. Every promise, every plural vow, every shared sunset gone. And just as viewers begin to process the loss, a final twist. Kody sells the land to a private developer rumored to plan luxury cabins. For the fans, it's not just business, it's betrayal. The land that was supposed to unite them now belongs to strangers. And so, the story comes full circle. Kody Brown, once father of 18, husband to 4, stands alone with Robyn in a smaller home, surrounded by memories of what could have been. The wives he once led now lead themselves. Soft background music builds piano and wind. Fans call it justice. Others call it tragedy. But one thing's certain, the Sister Wives story isn't over. It's just no longer Kody's to tell. And somewhere in the North Carolina sun, Janelle's horses run free, a living metaphor for every woman who's ever said, "Enough." What do you think, Sister Wives Nation? Was Kody trying to make peace? Or rewrite history? Did Robyn cross a line? And will Meri, Janelle, and Christine ever truly forgive him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's deep dive in full details. Part 3. Solomon Brown was born into Hope, 2011, the year Robyn married Kody. The family spoke of unity, of a promised land called Coyote Pass. But fans soon noticed Saul was different. Always with Robyn, rarely with siblings. Gentle, yet frozen in time. Children raised in tightly controlled environments often mirror a parent's emotions. They don't develop independent identity. Was Saul being protected from pain or prepared for a future Kody could control? By 2024, the once unbreakable Brown clan was a memory. Christine found love in Utah. Meri dared to date again. Janelle headed east to North Carolina, trading desert for freedom. Finally, Janelle escaped Coyote Pass madness. Meri looks alive again. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn retreated into silence, just them and the kids, including Saul, whose world seemed smaller than ever. But as the wives moved on, Kody made a decision that would tie their stories back together, and not in forgiveness. Because while his family was healing, Kody was plotting a sale, one that no one approved. Coyote Pass, 22 acres of Arizona dreamscape, was the family's shared future. Each wife had been promised a plot, each child a legacy. Kody, this land will keep us together. Meri, it already feels like home. But in late 2024, financial pressures and declining show income sparked a desperate plan. Kody and Robyn explored a sale without telling the others. Legal records show Coyote Pass remains tied to multiple names, making any sale complicated. But sources close to production claim Kody used quiet back channels to find buyers. And that's where Meri and Janelle come back in, not as wives, but as the last voices of accountability. Kody embarks on what he calls a journey of closure, visiting each ex-wife to make amends. But beneath the apologies lies a sales agenda. Meri, you're selling it? Without telling me? Kody, I need to move on. Meri, you already did. Years ago. Janelle's farm in North Carolina, wide angle of open fields. Janelle, that land was never about us, Kody. It was about you owning us. The confrontations weren't just emotional, they were symbolic, each woman holding a mirror to Kody's legacy of control. But what no one knew was how this decision to sell the land would echo in Saul's life too. While Kody was closing chapters, Saul was stuck in the chapter of eternal childhood. As his siblings grew independent, he remained quiet, withdrawn, the boy in the corner of every scene. Fans began to see a pattern, a father who clings to control over everything he can still hold on to. The land, the son. Kody lost his wives, and now he's holding on to Saul the same way he held on to Coyote Pass too tight. Poor boy never had a chance to breathe. And as Kody sells the land that symbolized his family, he unknowingly sells away his son's future too. When the final papers are signed, Coyote Pass ceases to be a dream. Developers move in. The mountain view is cut by construction signs. Meanwhile, Robyn's house remains quiet, curtains drawn. Saul looks out a window at a world he's rarely touched. The camera doesn't show him speaking. It never has. Freedom isn't leaving someone. It's finally believing you can. But to understand how it all fell apart, we have to go back to when hope still lived on Coyote Pass. It was the dream that defined them, 4 wives, 1 vision, 1 land. In those early TLC seasons, the Browns spoke with conviction. Kody, archival. Someday, we'll build our homes side by side. Christine, our kids will grow up together here. At that moment, Coyote Pass wasn't just soil, it was sacred ground. But dreams have expiration dates. Over time, laughter turned into distance into resentment. And for young Saul, born in the middle of it all, the promise of unity became background noise. While his mothers argued and his father chased control, Saul grew up watching love turn to silence. Looking back, the symbolism is chilling. The land that was meant to raise a family is now a mirror of a boy raised inside invisible walls. What if Coyote Pass and Saul's isolation were never separate stories, but reflections of the same loss? And as the dust settled over Coyote Pass, fans across the internet began connecting the dots. Reddit threads exploded overnight. Kody didn't just lose his wives, he lost his legacy. Saul's quietness breaks my heart. He's growing up in a glass house. On Facebook, mothers shared their own stories of children hidden behind parental control. This hit me hard. My son's the same age as Saul, and he's not allowed to speak freely either. TikTok creators dissected every frame, every facial expression, every sigh. A family therapist from Utah wrote, "When emotional isolation begins young, it echoes into adulthood. You can rebuild, but it takes years of unlearning fear." The conversation wasn't just about the Browns. It became about generational trauma, parenthood, and the invisible cost of control. And in that discussion, a haunting question surfaced. If Coyote Pass is gone, and Saul's freedom is fading, what remains of the Brown family name? As the sun sets over Flagstaff, the camera pans across the now silent land. Fences replaced by bulldozers, dreams replaced by foundations of strangers' homes. Cut to Janelle's horses galloping through morning fog in North Carolina, Christine twirling in her wedding dress, Meri laughing on her date. Then fade to Saul standing by a window, holding a sketchbook. The light hits his face, and for the first time, he looks outward, not inward. In the background, Kody's voice echoes faintly from an old episode. "We'll build something beautiful here." A single line of text appears on screen. Some promises aren't broken, they just change owners. Final fade-out music cue. Soft piano, desert wind, heartbeat fade. In the end, that's the lesson Coyote Pass leaves behind, a metaphor for what the wives found and what Saul still has to find. Because sometimes the land you lose is the freedom you gain, and the child you protect too much becomes the loneliest soul of all. Do you believe Kody was trying to heal or just hide his mistakes? Has Robyn's protection of Saul crossed into isolation? And what would you do if your past was buried along with your home? Comment below with #FreeSaul if you believe every child deserves a voice, and #Coyote Pass Legacy if you think the wives made the right choice to walk away. Because family isn't built on land, it's built on freedom.